Yeah, this is the Saginaw 4-speed on the El Camino. Actually, the 5th generation El Camino from 78 to 87, the only thing they had was Saginaws. They didn't come in any Muncies. They didn't come in any 12-bolt rears. They were just 10-bolt, 7.5-inch ring gear. It wasn't even the 8.5-inch ring gear. That's all they came with. What I did years ago was I took these shift shaft seals. These are the shifter arms. They go into the side cover, and I took it out this side cover years ago, and I just cleaned up those seals because I could not find a part anywhere. This is back in the 90s when the internet wasn't big, and I didn't even have a computer back then, basically. Today you go on eBay, easy as hell. You can get a whole freaking kit here. It's got the front seal, the rear seal, these seals, the speedometer seal, which that definitely doesn't look like it's leaking the slightest. I'll leave that alone. This one, I know I changed these out before because I had the transmission out before. I took them out when I had a transmission jack and shit. It was like really easy with a transmission jack. It's not that difficult without a jack, but I might change that. It doesn't, you know what happens, the front seals usually hold up pretty damn good, because why they hold up better than the rear seals is because they're protected from the elements. What happens is, you see this shaft that goes into the seal. If you're not using the car that much, if it gets a little rust on there, that little bit of corrosion will tear up the seal after a while. This one's not, none of these are really leaking that bad, because you can see it didn't even get wet here. It's just like right here. It takes a long time for it to lose fluid, but I'm going to change them out because then it'll be 100% correct. So I'm going to be taking that cover off right now, and it's not too bad. Just got to clean it up and clean up all up in the bottom. I've had this trans out of here several times actually, so doing a side cover ain't no big deal. So first order today is we'll take these off and we'll loosen all this up. We've got the pan underneath here. Okay, so I took the 3 levers, or 3, you don't have to mess with the adjustment or anything. You just unbolt them. I put the 3 bolts down here in order. It don't matter, really. The little one goes down here for the reverse. You take off the backup lamp plug. Next is to take off this cover, as I already got these loose, and put the pan underneath there. They're really not leaking too bad. You know, this is not an absolute essential thing, but I'm going to make sure it's right. This whole transmission, actually, you can get a rebuilt one for like $600. Saginaws are cheap, so tell me Chevys aren't freaking smart to keep. I'm going to clean off these contacts on this backup light, though, because you can see it's kind of like dirty from being underneath here, too. And put some electromotive grease in there, clean all that out good. So take the side cover off, and we'll replace these seals. They just really go in one way. Just don't mess with the adjusters. They just go in one way. You can see how they are. You know, this one goes here. This one goes here, and then you got the other one goes up there. That's the reverse. That's it. Well, I cracked the cover off, so let that drain. Glug, 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 glug. And we'll pull it off and clean it up real good. Put some new seals in it. Clean up that rear reverse. That's the reverse backup lights. That switch, clean that up real good. Because I noticed it was coming on and off. Sometimes it wasn't working all the time. It was working off and on. It's probably just dirty. Well, I don't know if you can see in there, but it doesn't even look like there's a seal in there. You can see the groove. No seal, so didn't notice much leaking, very little, but if you really took it on a long trip, that could probably add up after a while. So I'm going to put the seal in there. I think that's the reverse one. That's the reverse. It's got that little check ball on the spring you got to take out. So we're going to put the seal in there and go on to the next one. Now I have this little pick tool, which is really perfect for taking out these little rubber O-rings without damaging them. But I'm going to be putting some new ones in now. So I did change out one already, changing out the next one. I got one more to go. And what I'm going to probably do is take my time where on the bottom of the transmission, I'm going to go through with a magnet and pull out any kind of crap that's down there and get everything out of it, so won't have anything floating around that'll cause any wear on the bearings. Well, the seals are back in there. Actually, I had to reuse that old seal because I didn't have the right one for this one for the reverse. There was a seal in there. I didn't notice it. Put a little, it wasn't leaking at all. That was not leaking. These two were leaking a little bit, so put a little AT205 on there, the reseal. It's kind of like, should be alright though, because it wasn't leaking. There was a seal in there, just didn't notice it. But this one is a little bit too thick, so I don't know. Wouldn't work, so anyway. The one thing I want to take my time on is I want to get the crap out of the bottom of the transmission with a magnet. Yeah, I'll use the suction gun to take out the rest of it from the very bottom, and did a pretty good job of it. So on to the next step and put the side cover back on. Now, before I put these back in, I put these little plastic washers that are a little bit bigger to keep the shafts from going out. Especially this one. That's the one you really got to watch for, because it's got like a check ball in there and a spring, and it could pop out and the ball could just go down here. So you want to make sure that that thing is in there nice and tight, and it is. So you should be able to line them up and get them back in there. The other thing is, I cleaned up this, but it looks like this contact is a hair loose. This was the backup light switch. So they're easy to change. You can change them anytime. When you don't have to take the cover off. You just unbolt it and you just change it. But it might have been dirty, but this seems a little loose. That could be what's wrong with it. But I already changed that before, but maybe it needs a new one now. Now I chemically cleaned the heck out of the side cover, and I use this stuff, 99 MA high-tack sealant along with the gasket. And Putin's watching me. See. Hi, guy. What are you doing, buddy? Huh? Want to help me? Sure. If you had some thumbs, you would. Well, the case is the side cover's up there, as it should be. So get some blue Loctite, put on the bolts, and we'll secure them down. Well, that's a wrap. That's they're all Loctite blued on there too, all the bolts. So I don't trust nothing. And backup light things back on there. Tomorrow I'll do the rear seal. Won't put oil in it right now. I'll just leave it up on the jack. But that should be good, because I use that stuff too. And I really got the gasket surface squeaky clean. I didn't put that extra O-ring in that rear one. I just left it alone. I had to reuse the old one because somehow there was a little bit thicker O-ring. I don't know what the deal was, but the old one was okay. I just cleaned it up, put some AT205 on it. It seemed that there was a slight seepage coming from these two, but it wasn't much. So those are brand new ones. They should be fine. And I don't know if that's really much of a leak, but I'm going to probably change that too tomorrow. Just to double check everything. That's first, second, I got the clutch in, third, fourth, reverse. So it's shifting, and it should be cool. Got it in there right.